Continuing from the previous episode 1975. Quote. Silence, for a while, with Xiao Yan taking the first move so easily, the powerhouses in the field suddenly fell silent. In the middle stage of the 7-star Fighting Immortals, he was actually able to take a full blow from Marvin Yu in the middle stage of the 8-star Fighting Immortals. HMPH. Younger Marvin Yu, don't let the water go. At the same time, a fat man with a hideous face in the crowd took a step forward and roared suddenly. Even the surrounding mountains trembled slightly, and the strength contained in his body was enough to tear it apart. Mountains and rivers, heart palpitating. He, the sect master of the Elephant Armor sect, is joking. Brother Xiao Yan is very talented, but it is not something that a scholar like me can match. If you don't believe it, you can go up and try it out. After Marvin Yi finished speaking, he also quietly retreated, but there was a smile on the corner of his mouth. It was obvious that he had just noticed the dragon scales on Xiao Yan's body. The sect master of the Shanjia sect, I am afraid it can only be half a catty. Originally, the grievances between the two were not deep, but in the final analysis, they still had to return to the vassal of the Xiao clan. This was what Marvin Yu thought. Therefore, in the shot just now, there were actually quite a few elements of releasing water, but it was a pity that Marvin Yi underestimated it. Xiao Yan's strength. Senior, please? Looking at the naive big fat man in front of him, Xiao Yan said politely, but it was also the thick muscles on the guy's body, which revealed a rather uncomfortable depression. With a full weight of 300 kilograms, both arms and feet contain extremely tyrannical strength, and every move can shake the mountain, and he is a representative powerhouse of strength. I am the sect master of the Elephant Armor sect, Man Jin, and the late 8-star Fighting Immortal. I have a bold life, and I hate the fact that your Xiao family is greedy for life and fear of death, and you turn around and kill the guardian. I will do my best when I make a move. If you are acquainted, recognize it as soon as possible. This sect master will not be difficult for you. But don't mention how to resolve this grievance. Go straight from this top of the mountain, and teach me how to call a dog to climb out. The momentum was huge, as if Hongxia shot out like a flying shot, actually igniting this piece of void. There is a faint sense of intense distortion. I am afraid that this enchantment where the guardian lives will be completely broken in a short time. Come. Sect Master Manjin is joking. Although this junior is only a descendant of the Xiao clan, but he has all the true inheritance of his ancestors, so even if the senior makes a move. Xiao Yan smiled without saying a word, and the arrogance in his voice could not be contained. Salute first and then soldiers, otherwise you can only fight a tooth for a tooth. Ha, what a sharp-toothed boy. Today I will show you what real power is. The power of the 4 elephants, the hooves of the 4 elephants. Looking at Xiao Yan's appearance, Manjin's body swelled rapidly. In a short moment, it swelled like a giant thousands of feet, standing in the sky. The huge footprints slowly wrapped in luster, directly stepped on Xiao Yan. The void shattered directly, and countless energies of heaven and earth boiled and stirred in an instant, and a strong unease swept the hearts of all the powerhouses. Xiao Yan. Seeing this scene, Su Shuiying couldn't help biting her silver teeth, and she was extremely worried. The sect master of the Elephant Armor sect obtained a trace of the power of the 4 elephants by chance. With the blessing of that kind of power, in combination with the power of the late 8-star Fighting Immortals, its attack power is already comparable to the powerhouses who touch the reincarnation. It's really scary, but it's too small to look down on me. Dragon God Transformation. Undead Nether Sparrow Soul Shadow. Immortal Golden Body. Demon Emperor. Seeing this, Xiao Yan saw countless forces in his body gushing out like spring water. The blessing of the Dragon God Transformation made a very faint golden luster appear on Xiao Yan's body. If Xiao Yan cultivates the Dragon God Transformation to the peak in the future, I am afraid that the strength of the physical body will be able to reach the highest realm. Outside of the body, the shadow of the soul of the king of the undying Nether Sparrow, like an energy shawl, completely protected Xiao Yan's body from the most deadly attack. In addition, the immortal golden body is indestructible, and it decorates Xiao Yan like a real golden giant that will never fall. On the outermost layer, Fang is a figure of Qingtian with a prevalent demonic energy, standing slowly, his eyes directly confronting the footprints of the power of the 4 elephants. Boom! In an instant, looking at Xiao Yan's so many defensive means, Man Jin snorted coldly. His huge body suddenly exerted force. The footprints of the 4 elephants fell directly, and an extremely tyrannical force fell from the sky. Like a meteor that has fallen into the world, it is extremely terrifying. Boom! With a sound, the body of the demon emperor Tianxiang was dormant under the footprints of the 4 elephants almost instantly, and then the immortal golden body temporarily stopped its fatal attack. I'm careless. Seeing the demon emperor's celestial appearance being so vulnerable, Xiao Yan's scalp was numb, and a trembling filled the air. Obviously, the so-called power of the 4 elephants is also a supreme power that is comparable to the power of reincarnation. The pattern of domination, the mirage sky curtain. After a while, Xiao Yan snorted coldly. The pattern of dominance on his arm, like a star, rose from Xiao Yan's arm, and suddenly a huge water curtain like 1,000 feet, a defensive barrier was formed in the city to protect Xiao Yan to the death. Gotcha! The immortal golden body shattered. Boy, are you convinced? Looking at this scene, Man Jin sneered. It's not enough. Xiao Yan roared coldly. The enormous pressure made Xiao Yan's teeth clenched, and the sound of friction between the bones was exceptionally clear. Btth. The monstrous water curtain of the pattern of dominance is crumbling. Boy, admit defeat, or you'll be blown away. Looking at Xiao Yan, who was only protected by his fighting spirit, Man Jin shook his head and said, with an indescribable joy in his heart. No, you can't just give up, just a little bit at the end. Hold me. Xiao Yan had a grim smile on his face, sweat dripped from his forehead, and the clan lines on his forehead also flashed a rare light. The power contained in it was extremely terrifying, but in the next moment, it was directly taken back by Xiao Yan. This is the Dragon King's scale and clan pattern of the Dragon Clan, this guy. At the same time, a group of strong men behind them looked at each other in dismay. They knew very well that the barbarian brocade, blessed by the power of the 4 elephants, might not have the strength. Completion is weaker than the real 8-star Do Xian. Xiao Yan's actions are no different from sending him to death. Don't you see that everything he's doing now is to make amends for us, hoping to smooth out the anger in our hearts? Dragon King's dragon scales, the power of clan lines, and even the power of 5 holy flames, even if a real reincarnation powerhouse is in front of him, as long as he thinks, he may be qualified to perish together. What the asterisk are you thinking about? At this moment, Su Shuiyin could no longer suppress the anger and tears in her body. The tip of her nose was sore, and the tears flowed down like a dam. Go, mother! Are we all wrong? Looking at the area where Xiao Yan was covered by countless smoke and dust at the center of the explosion, even at the last moment, Xiao Yan did not attack, just defended, knowing that this was a mortal situation, and there was no evasion. Man Jin and the strong men behind him couldn't help but feel a deep self-blame in their hearts. Whether it's right or wrong, but this little guy, I like it very much. It seemed that it was silent for a long time, and it seemed that Xiao Yushin's words had left a deep shadow on Feng Wan'er, and Feng Wan'er's eyes became clear. Looking at this riddled barrier, looking at Xiao Yan whose life and death are unknown, he spoke softly. There was no extreme anger in his voice, but a touch of tenderness. It seemed that Xiao Yan's every move had truly won her respect. At this moment, although the feud between the Xiao clan and the Guardian has not yet come to light, Xiao Yan, with his own actions, will undoubtedly ease the relationship between the two. The feeling of letting go of the old hatred actually made these guys feel a little ashamed, but for Xiao Yan, this kind of price is too huge. Although they don't know that Xiao Yan is immortal, otherwise Xiao Yan's actions now will be indestructible. It can only be considered to be self-inflicted. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Please remember this book's first domain name. Tang San Chinese website, mobile version reading website. Continuing from the previous episode 1976. The footprints of the 4 elephants stepped down directly, and the countless powers around Xiao Yan's body disintegrated in an instant. Xiao clan's patriarch, you are really harmful. Xiao Yan was surrounded by countless smoke and dust, and with the protection of the 5-color holy flame, Xiao Yan still had an aura of powerlessness. Crack! Without waiting for Xiao Yan to make any move, the huge footprints directly stomped on Xiao Yan's vital points. Crack and crisp. In an instant, all the defenses in Xiao Yan's body were in vain, and instantly disappeared, and Xiaoyan's body was directly kicked upside down by such a terrifying kick, the ground crumbled up, and the huge force directly pressed Xiaoyan hundreds of meters into the ground. Even on Xiaoyan's body, dozens of ribs were broken. Blood spilled from the corners of his mouth, eyes, ears and nose, and a heart-wrenching pain filled Xiaoyan's body. Even his soul collapsed heavily, obviously injured. Not light. At the same time, the most mysterious immortal power in Xiaoyan's body rushed out, directly facing these fatal points in Xiaoyan's body. The power of immortality and immortality is enough to make Xiaoyan truly immortal, and something like this, it also has a very fast healing effect. Go back to me. Seeing this, Xiaoyan forcibly endured the terrifying pain and snorted coldly. I have finally won their trust. At this time, the immortal power has repaired the scars on my body. What is the matter? Wasn't all that he suffered just now wasted in vain? Susu. So shocked by Xiaoyan, the mysterious power of immortality and immortality entered Xiaoyan's body, dormant, and only protected a trace of Xiaoyan's origin. Even if Xiaoyan was completely destroyed, as long as there is a trace of power to exist is to be reborn. Xiaoyan! 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 Just when Xiaoyan finished everything, Su Shuiying's sad voice sounded, and immediately fell directly from the 100-meter huge pit on the top of the mountain, looking for Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan let out a weak voice, and just wanted to twist his body, but found that his body couldn't move. If such a serious wound were moving, I'm afraid Xiaoyan's life would be in danger. You! Su Shuiying came here following Xiaoyan's weak voice. Her red eyes once again received an extremely strong visual impact. Today's Xiaoyan sleeps flat on a rock at the bottom of the giant pit. His entire body is welded to it. Bloodstains appear on his chest, his flesh is blurred, and he can clearly see the *** ribs are broken open, and its ankles and even arms are riddled with holes. I'm fine. Also, there is one more move. Xiaoyan's eyes were closed, and he said weakly, Xiaoyan. Woo. At this moment, Su Shuiying could no longer hold back the anger and sadness in her body, and crystal-clear tears appeared on top of her bright red eyes. Hey! After the rest, Feng Wan'er brought everyone down here directly, and muttered to Su Shuiying, who was crying into tears, and Xiaoyan, who was like *** man. Mother, leave it to me. At this time, behind Feng Wan'er, a middle-aged woman with a rather haggard face said slightly, Qian Lao, Xiaoyan will ask you, please save him. Su Shuiying said earnestly. Qian Rui heard the words, nodded lightly, and an energy barrier emerged to protect the two. Although everyone in the outside world didn't know what happened, no one left. They all stood there dumbfounded, silently praying for Xiaoyan, and in the light group, Xiaoyan's breath was slowly recovering. Cher, what's the matter with you? As the matter ended, Feng Wan'er asked out of her mouth. Obviously, this girl's actions towards Xiaoyan were beyond her expectations. Mother, Xiaoyan is the descendant of the Xiao clan I met when I went out to fetch the blood of the emperor. Su Shuiying's lips slowly squirmed, and she recounted the scenes of the year, but she did not say much about the black and white yin and yang heart. Funny scene. It turns out that this guy is a descendant of the origin of the Xiao family. No wonder he is so determined. It's really a good seedling. Feng Wan'er heard this and couldn't help but admire her, but Feng Wan'er found out that Xiaoyan didn't seem to be complete. Although this is just a small discovery by Feng Wan'er, it is not enough to explain anything, but seeing her lover's appearance of being so infatuated with Xiaoyan, she can't help but worry. Because Feng Wan'er was extremely afraid, Xiaoyan was already a family member. In that case, her beloved disciple would be afraid. However, Feng Wan'er was worried that she was wrong, because Su Shuiying did not have any unreasonable thoughts about Xiaoyan, but in the future, with the help of Xiaoyan, Su Shuiying also controlled the demon sword of the demon realm and became a guardian in the future. The strongest. The king of demon swords, the fragrant snow emperor. Of course, that's all for later. As time passes, it will be more than a month. In a month's time, except for Su Shuiying, the other powerhouses have dispersed to clean up their homes. Unfortunately, because of several battles, the entire enchantment has collapsed, and it is no longer available for people to live in. I'm afraid these guys can only go out to find a place to live. Mother, this place has been abandoned and can no longer be lived in. I'm afraid we should make plans earlier. On a cliff, black hole cracks continued to emerge, Mo-zi asked in a low voice. Let the other strong leaders go back to their respective sects to organize their strength. I'm afraid we will need their strength soon. Feng Wan'er shook her head as she had expected. But in this case, there are only 8 of us guardians. Mo-zi said, 8 people are just 8 people. As long as this last bloodline is not cut off, it will be worthy of the ancestors. Feng Wan'er murmured, crash. In an instant, the energy of the entire sky suddenly became turbulent again, and immediately a rather impressive energy emerged. This is Xiao Yan's breath? This breath has broken through the late stage of 7-star fighting immortals? Mo-zi was surprised. Let's go. Feng Wan'er nodded lightly, and the two flew towards the peak plaza. What are you doing? At this time, on the top of the mountain, Dao woman and Xiao Yan stood still, and in the woman's hand, 2 prism-shaped crystal blocks emerged, and even a stubbornness to the bones emerged. Let go. This is what we are protecting for you. Since you have woken up safely, then I will return these 2 holy flames to you. Su Shuiying said with a serious face at this time. I said, Auntie, don't make trouble. You all have merit without hard work. Besides, if you forcibly peel off the 2 holy flames, how much your strength has regressed, and even your source has been damaged. I am afraid that in the future. Xiao Yan hurriedly comforted. I'm darling, I just came back from the gate of hell, and I haven't had time to be complacent because of my strength breaking through to the late stage of the 7-star fighting immortals. Is this Su Shuiying doing this for herself again? And the most unexpected thing for Xiao Yan is that these 2 holy flames are actually the fire of inheritance that the Xiao clan guards. At the beginning, they were restless, and the guards could only devour themselves in order to prevent them from being discovered by foreign evil clans and other forces. Is also a last resort. However, after swallowing it all, Xiao Yan naturally wouldn't let it be stripped out. The price of stripping away the holy flame was too huge. Although it is a pity to lose the 2 sacred flames inherited from the Xiao clan, it is fortunate that I have received the forgiveness of the guardian. This trip has not come for nothing. Of course, the most important part is the mysterious stone in the center of the square, which is probably the biggest secret guarded by the guardian. Please remember this book's first domain name. Tang San Chinese website mobile version reading website. Continuing from the previous episode 1977. What's going on? Feng Wan'er and a group of high-level leaders arrived one after another, and immediately looked at the 2 who were deadlocked in the field and asked. Mother, Xiao wants to forcibly strip the 2 holy flames from her body and return them to Xiao Yan. The pharmacist Qian Rui, who was in charge of treating Xiao Yan, shook her head slightly, and said, obviously she is not good at interfering in this kind of thing. Xiao, you're just making a fool of yourself. At this moment, Feng Wan'er couldn't help scolding. It's their thing. I don't want it. Su Shuiying frowned slightly and pouted. Obviously she didn't want to owe Xiao Yan anything. That's what happened now. Quote. Xiao Yan heard the words, his head full of black lines. Forget it. Since you insist on doing this, then you can give it back to him. Feng Wan'er spoke slightly after a few deep voices, but her voice was full of extreme coldness. But, it's all right. Xiao Yan hurriedly suppressed Su Shuiying, and the 2 Saint Flame crystals poured directly into Su Shuiying's body, and immediately pouted. Although if he owns these 2 holy flames, it is enough to truly step into the 8 stars, and even have a very small chance to touch the reincarnation, but Xiao Yan will definitely not do this. But, Su Shuiying opened her mouth, obviously embarrassed. Senior mistress, you see that the void here is crumbling now. I'm afraid it is no longer suitable for living. Xiao Yan hurriedly changed the subject. Indeed, I don't know what idea your kid has. Feng Wan'er asked. Junior established a force called Endless Fire Territory, and now it has occupied 3 of the 4 continents of Duty Continent. If Senior does not dislike it, Junior dares to invite Senior to go back and sit in the rear as the true executor of my Endless Fire Territory. In this way, when we have enough strength to go to the underworld in the future, we might as well go together. Xiao Yan said with a smile. Okay, then it's up to you. After blinking, Feng Wan'er nodded lightly. After all, there were only 8 guardians behind her. It was also an excellent way to accompany Xiao Yan to the Endless Fire Territory. Hey, Senior Mistress, since the matter is almost resolved, isn't this thing? Xiao Yan asked with a heavy sigh of relief, staring at the black stone with a very strong seal in front of him. It seems that there is an ancient atmosphere on it, which is awe-inspiring and curious. He, little guy, your ambition is not small. Suddenly, the pharmacist Qian Rui next to him smiled slightly, and there was a rare magnetism in his voice, which was very pleasant. Does this stone really hold any secrets? Seeing this, the 8 people around Xiao Yan laughed together, feeling that something was wrong, and said immediately, "If we want to move the base camp, this stone-like stone must also be taken away together." After a while, Su Shuiying nodded slightly and smiled. Su Shuiying's figure was enchanting, her skin was as pink as cream, but when her beautiful eyes looked at the mysterious stone, a dull luster refracted from it, and an indescribable mysterious aura spread out. You can try it. However, this thing is something that countless strong people in your Xiao family are desperately protecting. What is the use and mystery of it? Even if we have guarded it for countless years, no one has been able to covet it. Feng Wan'er said a little, turned out to be walking towards the seal formation. Thank you, Senior. Xiao Yan couldn't help but be overjoyed when he saw this, and followed directly. Back off, I'm going to open the seal formation. Xiao Yan, you enter it alone. Remember that you only have 1 stick of incense time. If the time of 1 stick of incense can't be cracked, you can only exit, otherwise even me can't protect you. Feng Wan'er raised her pale palm. He stood up, and then silently worshipped the black stone in front of him. Kai, after about to touch Shunshi, the jade staff in Feng Wan'er's hand was full of rays of light, and the top of the jade staff was like a gem-like jade staff, which slowly fell and then slowly faced the edge of the black stone. Let it go in emptiness. Boom! With a sound, an ancient wave of energy ripples suddenly burst out. That kind of power is by no means comparable to reincarnation. Come in. Feng Wan'er's face was extremely ugly. She had just opened the seal formation and suddenly drew nearly 90% of her power. Huh! Xiao Yan's body turned into a stream of light, directly piercing the black stone, as if there was Zhan Tian on top of the stone. The outside world returned to quiet, and the 8 people were all quietly waiting for Xiao Yan, and inside, Xiao Yan also slowly started the last step of the century-old appointment. Just poured into the black stone, on top of a mountain, where the vegetation is lush, and a trace of green vitality emerges. On the whole, there is a mysterious power flowing, like the pure natural jade liquid, which the mountains are very strange. This kind of aura is so mysterious. Xiao Yan stood outside the mountains and couldn't help taking a deep breath. As soon as I stepped into the mountains, it didn't take long to walk to the center of the mountains. In the center of the mountain, the peach forest is full of fragrant spirits, and there are ancient fragrances on the trees, which are refreshing. A 100-meter water pool with a whole body is green in the center of the peach forest. The whole scene is like a world out of the painting. Wonderland in general. Wang buzzing. In an instant, when Xiao Yan looked at the water pool in the center of Taolin, his body was burning, and Emperor Yanji all became restless invariably, and even the 2 scattered directly, suspended in Xiao Yan's in front of him. He looked at the green water pool with vigilance, as if he was afraid of something. Boom! At the moment when Xiao Yan wondered, blisters appeared in the pool, and then a terrifying energy swept out. It was an iron pillar with a thickness of several hundred meters. Countless exotic flowers and plants were carved on the iron pillar. It seemed to be a forbidden area for the entrance of a garden. It was green and full of endless mystery. Boom! A moment later, he shot directly at Xiao Yan. Not good. Seeing this, Xiao Yan felt a tingling sensation in his scalp, and all the power in his body actually solidified at this moment. Peefed! With a sound, Xiao Yan's clan pattern flickered between his eyebrows, and his entire body was enveloped by a dark red energy. The power of the Xiao clan's line and the Xiao clan's bloodline. Quote. The mysterious iron pillar was indestructible, and attacked Xiao Yan directly with an aura of annihilation, but when he touched the blood shield around Xiao Yan's body, which was condensed from the blood of the Xiao family, he became quiet. What a complex and hidden power. Xiao Yan looked at the countless lines on the iron pillar from the corner of his eye, and lost his mind for a moment. He only felt that the things recorded on the iron pillar vaguely belonged to a garden like fairyland on Earth. Entrance, that kind of power is definitely not something I can covet now. And as Tiezu quieted down, the green and hot water tumbled violently above the pool, and after a while, 9 golden dragons came out in a row. Gulu. Xiao Yan looked at him, only to feel that the countless powers in his body, whether it was fighting qi, soul power, spiritual power, or even holy flame and demon power, were quietly crawling down at this moment. An awe filled Xiao Yan's heart. What exactly is the thing that came out of the Kowloon and the dragon's mouth? How could Xiao Yan have such a terrifying abnormality? Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Please remember this book's first domain name. Tang San Chinese website, mobile version reading website. Continuing from the previous episode 1978. The emerald green water pool touched about 100 meters. At this time, the waves were dangerous and huge waves emerged, and then the 9 golden dragons were straight and slender, and their bodies were shrouded in auspicious luster, like a real sacred object, jumping directly into the air. That's it? Xiao Yan stood there dumbfounded, looking at the mysterious patterns of countless exotic flowers and plants on the iron pillar. His eyes were fixed on the corner of Jushin Jinlong's mouth, and he couldn't help losing his voice. That's a box. The whole body of the box appeared, and a strong vitality was vented out. After the breath, the 9 golden dragons were directly destroyed. And when Xiao Yan stared at this box, an extremely terrifying pressure swept out, making Xiao Yan unable to help but feel a sense of worship in his body. The box is about a square shape, with a square shape. The outermost layer is a ray of sunshine, which is tightly protected, and through the ray of light, it is a layer of colorful crystal silver and antimony transparent, a trace of hidden breath. Emerge. In the innermost part of the mysterious Shaguang box, a faint blood-red luster can be seen faintly. It seems to be a heart that is shaking violently like a human being, only the size of a longan. The heart beats slowly one after another, and each beat will bring the violent beating of Xiao Yan's eyelids, which is extremely bright red, dripping slowly like blood, that kind of power and luster, dazzling, making people yearn for an awe. This. What is it? At this moment, Xiao Yan's eyes narrowed tightly, and his body could not move at all. He immediately looked at the blood-red heart protected by the second layer energy in the Shaguang box, and couldn't help but muttered. However, no matter how Xiao Yan roared, no one responded to Xiao Yan. Zhu! With a sound, the Emperor Yan ring seemed to have received some guidance and fell off Xiao Yan's body. Immediately, with a faint flame, it rushed towards the Shaguang box. Boom! The two just collided, an invisible energy ripple spread out, the Shaguang above the Shaguang box slowly fell, and the Emperor Yan ring was also returning to Xiao Yan. The rays of light fell off, and there was only a layer of crystal protection on top of the box, and the heart inside it kept flickering like a dream, making it foolish to tell whether it was a dream or reality. Crash! After the breath, a fiery red luster rose into the sky above the crystal box, like a furious roar of a fierce beast, sweeping the whole world. The king can only bow down, and dare not have any disobedience. What a tyrannical breath of life, and there seems to be an even more majestic flame power in it. Feeling this unprecedented power, Xiao Yan frowned, and he exerted his strength to the limit, muttering. Fire Spirit Orb? One of the keys to Paradise Lost? Just when Xiao Yan was at a loss, the Emperor Yan ring was directly worn on Xiao Yan's index finger, and a profound message was suddenly transmitted to Xiao Yan's mind through the Emperor Yan ring. Among. Guru, how is that possible? This thing is actually the key to Paradise Lost? In an instant, Xiao Yan's pupils shrank tightly, and an incredible stun swept his heart. Paradise Lost, according to the accurate information just reported by the Emperor Flame Ring, it is the paradise of the gods, the resting place of the gods. And most importantly, those who can step into Paradise Lost are strong at least above the 6th layer reincarnation realm. 6th layer reincarnation realm. What kind of mysterious power is that? Even through the information returned by the Emperor Yanji just now, Xiao Yan vaguely realized that the heaven and earth war, and even the inexplicable disappearance of the Xiao clan and the execution of the guardians, were all related to Paradise Lost. Although there is no specific intelligence information, Xiao Yan's intuition tells Xiao Yan that I am afraid that the Xiao family or the guardians have obtained some enviable and peerless divine artifact from Paradise Lost, which caused such a tragic incident. It seems that this thing is more important than my life. After Shun breathed, Xiao Yan looked firmly at the heart above the crystal box and said solemnly, Paradise Lost is the paradise of the gods. It is said that it has the vital things needed to break through the cycle of reincarnation and step into the battle god rank, and the keys to unlock Paradise Lost are the 5 spiritual beads of gold, wood, water, fire and soil. If you look at the information from the Emperor Yanji, I'm afraid this one in front of you is one of the so-called 5 spirit orbs, the fire spirit orb. Xiao Yan walked over to it step by step. With the blessing, Xiao Yan was not attacked by the ancient power in this crystal box. Btth2, seemingly aware of Xiao Yan's plans, the crystal box vibrated violently, and hot melt slowly overflowed from the box, and immediately vented out to Xiao Yan, trying to hunt and kill and block Xiao Yan's progress. Calm me down, the power of holy flame, the blood of the Xiao family. Seeing this, Xiao Yan tore a *** mouth out of his wrist, and the bright red blood and the power of amber holy flame resisted it. Boom boom boom. With a sound, the molten liquid was easily destroyed by Xiao Yan's attack. It seems that this thing was indeed subdued by the ancestors of the Xiao family and planted a unique aura that belongs to our Xiao family. No wonder it is difficult for the guardians to spy on the secrets, Xiao Yan said, while the palm wrapped the blood Saint Yan, gently opened the crystal box. Shabu shabu. The crystal box was just opened, and a terrifyingly hot breath came out, and there was also an ancient breath of life. The breath seemed to come from an ancient garden. Smell, it is pleasing to the eye, if it can be accompanied for a long time. I am afraid it has the mysterious effect of prolonging life. It really is the fire spirit orb. After blinking, Xiao Yan couldn't help but say with joy, looking at the longan-sized item lying quietly in the crystal box. The fire spirit bead is bright in color and round in shape, with a touch of natural power. The whole body of the spirit bead is painted with complex and obscure patterns, but now Xiao Yan senses it at a glance, and the power of the soul is actually swallowed directly. It was exhausted, and even had a feeling of dizziness, so I could only give up the exploration of the fire spirit orb. This kind of divine artifact is probably not something that he can spy on now, but Xiao Yan is clear that the value of this artifact is probably more attractive than divine artifact or even holy flame. Once the news of it is exposed, the current Xiao Yan will probably be killed. It's better to keep this thing and seal it up first, otherwise, once it is passed on, I'm afraid it will cause real chaos in the world. Xiao Yan nodded slowly, and all his strength immediately boiled, while controlling the fire spirit orb, while facing his own body go. The 5 beads are gathered, the paradise is opened, the way of the gods is revealed, all beings are in trouble. Just after Xiao Yan put the ancient incomparable fire spirit beads into his body and sealed it with all his strength, a long Sanskrit sound was transmitted to Xiao Yan's heart, making him Xiao Yan's body suddenly shook. Fire spirit orb, the name of the key to Paradise Lost in the Paradise of the Gods, is indeed well deserved. Please remember this book's first domain name. Tang San Chinese website mobile version reading website. Continuing from the previous episode 1979. The time is almost up. Why hasn't Xiao Yan made any movement yet? In the peak square, the 8 people frowned, looking at the incense stick in front of them that was about to burn out, and said solemnly. In the inner space of the Black Stone, these powerhouses have been in and out countless times, but without the support of the Xiao family blood, they cannot spy on the secrets, so countless explorations have found nothing, and now Xiao Yan enters it. I really hope Xiao Yan can find the secret. Crack. Just when everyone hesitated, a loud noise swept out. The black stone shattered and turned into countless powders. A man in black also walked out slowly. How? Did you succeed? Seeing Xiao Yan's safe return, everyone asked eagerly. Successful, we can start our journey back to the endless fire territory, but the matter of the wormhole in this time and space has to trouble the senior mistress. Xiao Yan smiled slightly, and immediately handed the latter the spatial coordinates that contained the headquarters of the endless fire territory. Call me Senior Feng in the future. Feng Wanner nodded lightly, caught Xiao Yan's spatial coordinates, and waved it casually. In front of everyone, a dark crack appeared, and the time-space wormhole condensed in an instant. It's just the blink of an eye. Now that you're ready, let's go. Xiao Yan smiled comfortably, and immediately said, let's go. After that, everyone evacuated directly from here, stepped into the space-time wormhole and headed towards the headquarters of the endless fire territory. As for this territory, it was completely shattered, although it was discovered by the Holy See and other forces in the future, but with Feng Wanner's method, naturally no suspicious evidence was left behind. At this point, the 100-year agreement has come to an end. The grievances between the Shao family and the Guardian have not been completely resolved, but now that the two have settled their previous differences, it can be regarded as the best harvest. But Xiao Yan was late, causing Duo the holy flame was absorbed by Su Shuiying, with a slight pity. On the other side, Endless Fire Territory. Today's Endless Fire Territory is not what it used to be. Ever since Xiao Yan went to the Star Continent on behalf of the Endless Fire Territory to settle the matter on the Star Continent has been declared to belong to the Endless Fire Territory, and the Haohai Continent has always been a vassal of the Star Continent. Today's Endless Fire Territory is a huge force occupying the three lands of Duty Continent. Whether it is strength or resource background, there has been a significant improvement, but due to the special terrain of the two continents, Endless Fire Territory high-level decision after the decision still did not interfere with them, and won countless hearts at once. Xuanling Continent, in the center of Xuanling Mountain, there are countless serpent-shaped grand palaces. Among the serpent-shaped palaces like mountains, there is an extraordinarily magnificent hall. At this time, there are two lonely shadows in the hall, which appear here slightly. Sister Kaylin, why are you so unhappy when I see you recently? At this time, in a study in a hall, two shadows flickered slightly, one was sitting at the desk, and one scroll was carefully read. As for the other one, with a quirky face, said quite playfully. In the study, the two beautiful figures have their own merits, one is enchanting, and the slender waist with a full grip makes countless heroes bend their waists. In addition to the innate charm, they have a charm, and the other, wearing a green dress, he lazily put his slender hand on the back of the chair, and there was a terrifying coldness on his smiling face. The two are naturally the two mistresses of the Endless Fire Territory, the king of the Medusa clan, Kaylin and Mu Yingying. Seeing this, Kai Lin couldn't help cursing, and immediately put down the scroll in her hand and looked at the woman in front of her. Compared with the past, this girl was less lively and more chilled, of blood. Kaylin is indifferent by nature, and she is too lazy to care about Xiao Yan's romantic debts, but Mu Yingying has quite a set, actually making Kaylin, who has always been cold-hearted, become enthusiastic, and even announced on Tianxing Continent and Haohai Continent after belonging to the Endless Fire Territory. Mu Yingying went to the two continents alone to completely stabilize the situation. The courage and strength required for it can be said to have won a lot of voices in the Endless Fire Territory. Breakthrough to 6 stars? After a while, Kaylin glanced around slightly, and when she looked at Mu Yingying's enchanting body, she suddenly smelled something unusual and asked. Well, it's also an unexpected gain from this mission. Mu Yingying said with a playful smile. Mu Yingying's current strength, in the early stage of 6-star fighting immortals, on the other hand, Kaylin has also reached the level of 6-star fighting immortal perfection. After all, the two ways to improve their strength are not the same as ordinary people, and naturally they are not comparable. Mu Yingying is a human being converted from Shengyan, and she has Duo Shengyan and the Fenju cultivation technique given by Xiao Yan. The speed of cultivation is much faster than that of normal people. On the other hand, Kaylin has the power of 10 colors in his body, and every increase in strength requires tribulation, so the increase in the strength of the two cannot be inferred from common sense. Now the Duty Continent has stabilized the third place, and the last Douyin Continent will probably fall into our hands after a long time. Mu Yingying smiled. There was a hint of tiredness in her voice. The middle was filled with the coercion of the superiors. Obviously, after Xiao Yan left, this playful girl who used to be carefree also made great efforts. Why do you have to work so hard? Kaylin's soft voice sounded. Obviously, she has seen the transformation of Mu Yingying over the years. Even her, she is quite heartbroken. Don't worry, Sister Kaylin, I'm fine. Mu Yingying smiled slightly. Since Xiao Yan and Kaylin both agreed to their existence, Mu Yingying naturally seized every minute and second to improve her strength and build her prestige. After all, with her strong character, she will not easily admit defeat, not to mention that there is still a principle missing, and a sense of crisis arises spontaneously. Douyin Continent is like a cloud of powerhouses. This is the most troublesome place, yes, and according to the information returned by the Empress of the Stars, I am afraid that the Holy See is already investigating us. Once they find out that the wandering angel was killed by our endless fire territory lord, I am afraid that we will also face extremely terrifying danger. After all, in the end, our current top power in the endless fire territory cannot compete with the Holy See or even most of the sects in Doyan continent. Kai Lin's eyes were wrinkled. Obviously, the affairs of Doyan continent gave her quite a headache. Don't worry, Sister Kaylin, and that guy and us. Mu Yingying smiled slightly, her voice was full of murderous intent. Obviously this girl has changed a lot. Well, now I can only take one step at a time. Kai Lin was relieved, and also revealed a rare smile. By the way, I'm already investigating the matter of the Do-Chi continent in the lower realm. I'm afraid we will be able to break through the void and go back soon. When the time comes, Sister Kaylin wants me to take a good look at Xiao Xiao Xiao. Before leaving, Mu Yingying smiled sweetly and pouted, with a hint of envy in her voice. Okay, for sure. Mu Yingying's voice remained in the air of the study for a long time, and she did not leave hastily, but quietly accompanied Kaylin, but Kaylin's incomparably cold eyes were already glowing. A trace of sparkling tears, the figure of a rather sensible little girl slowly emerged in his heart. That is her own daughter on the Do-Chi continent, Xiao Xiao Xiao. Decades have passed since stepping through the void, and I don't know if all of them are okay. A trace of worry and longing swept through my heart like spring water, and the icy cold mistress of endless fire territory was finally completely moved. Please remember this book's first domain name. Tang San Chinese website mobile version reading website.